Canonn Radio. We wear tinfoil so you don't have to.
A good witch space to you all. I am Commander HSKelvin, today hosting the Canonn Roundtable discussion. Today I am joined by Commander Dutch Foster, Lore Boffin, and the Gnosis Jinbar, Commander Panpiper, Canon's barnacle guru and xenobiologist, discoverer of most barnacles and investigating barnacle life cycles, DMehaffy, head of Canonn R&D, Commander CrescentMage, Commander Lexic Meise, Canonn Faction News member, and our scribe, and Commander Science, our editor-in-chief and head of the Biscuit Bugle. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Doing all right.
Good.
All right. Well, it's good to see how you're all doing here. I hope you're all doing well. I myself am currently on the Gnosis right now, and I kind of, I know that last time we, I don't know about last time, but we might have had a bit of a breakout after that. After the session, I haven't really watched that, but I heard about what happened. Something about a scavenger getting loose. Anyway, we have that thing all contained. Now, I have a couple of topics about you all. You all can just discuss them however you want. Now, our first topic is the rumor about a Thargoid in the bubble that the Pilots Federation had to eventually address. I'm at a loss for this one. Can anybody fill me in on that one?
It does depend
Because
on
I
the
haven't heard about-
definition of the bubble. I would say, haven't seen many reports. When I did investigate, it was definitely outside, and myself also had a high prediction. It was beyond 150 light years around Rope, where the UA shell is.
A bit close
Now,
to
I
the
know
bubble
I
then,
had
huh?
about 160. I'm sure other ones have been reported where they had some other ship. I think there's a mega ship, I believe, and was found destroyed and with Thargoids around. And whether it's actually in the bubble as you define it
that's-
or on the borderland of the bubble, it's definitely not in the UA shell, but where we have some populated places, to be sure, though.
Oh, yeah, so basically they're just on the outskirts of the bubble, just in a, it's what, I've actually seen like some, I was actually looking through my fighter pilot application, and apparently one of the fighter pilots have called that place the Merope Bubble. Yeah, apparently he's called it the Merope Bubble, which is actually kind of odd. But yeah, actually, oh, sorry, go ahead, Panpiper.
I guess it's referring to the UA shell, really, where the majority of the activity with Thargoids is. So I guess, in a way, it is the Pleiades bubble, or the Thargoid bubble, or the UA shell, as you call it. It's the area of influence.
Yeah, that sounds more
as the Thargoid bubble.
Oh, that actually reminds me. I am apparently so forgetful up on this darn thing. Swear to God, being up there in space does things to you. Now, if you'd like, I'd like to introduce you guys. Commander Dutch Foster, say hello.
Howdy.
Commander CrescentMage.
Hello.
DMehaffy.
Evening.
And of course, Lexic.
Hello.
And Commander Panpiper. I'm sure you actually talked first, so I'm pretty sure we know who he is.
You've heard me before, but evening all.
Yep, that's Panpiper and Commander Science.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is my first time up here hosting it, people. All right, so expect some hiccups, but I ain't gonna let it stop me. Yeah, that's actually something like I was a bit curious about the interception in one of the bubbles, and that actually does segue into one of our topics, Panpiper. Megaships being targeted by Thargoids. That's actually something that's also got me. Because, like I said, Canonn has recently sent the Gnosis out on tour, and I'm currently on the thing. And as soon as we made it to a bit of a jump into HIP, I forget the number of the system, apparently something went wrong. Very wrong. Pretty sure we all remember that.
Yeah, we had a bit of a malfunction in the FSD.
Yeah, I really hope it wasn't Pookie down there again. That would be that would have been disastrous.
Caused a little bit of a warp in space-time. I believe it should be fixed.
Yeah, communications were also a bit bonked. Best way I could put it. Now, back to the topic of the megaships being targeted by the Thargoids. Does anyone know what kind of megaships that were currently targeted, or which ones are out there?
I think I saw a picture of I think it was a Majestic class.
Oh yeah, that's one of them.
Currently, we have seen everything from bulk cargo class vessels to prison vessels, really. It's quite surprising to see this much activity against presumably passive
Unarmed.
ships, especially
unarmed
since
ships.
you could re-intercept some logs from the prison one that noted that a commander was giving specific orders not to fire at the vessel. So the big question at this point is, why are they targeting them?
Speaking of them being targeted by Thargoids, I think there's been a bit of a picture floating around of a beluga with Thargoid damage. That's not very good. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that. But Lexic, you said? What were you still saying?
The prison ship was officially there were logs that you could intercept from it that noted that a captain of the vessel was ordering people not to fire upon the vessel that was moving around them, the Thargoid ship.
And yet, either someone didn't obey and the Thargoid, or someone shot the Thargoid.
And it just
Or-
responded defensively.
Or the Thargoid completely shot on its own volition without any need to do so. I
Then,
think that it is
well,
a
you
little...
could consider you're talking about the prison ship, right?
Of course, yes.
You could consider maybe prisoners bringing aboard illegal cargo, sneaking something in. Maybe the Thargoid saw something that they had.
It would have probably noticed it by then, since it would have probably damaged the prisoner ship by then.
I think you're onto something there. I've had my own thoughts along similar things about the reasoning on why they picked the targets. Now, from when we enter NHSSs and we investigate the odd wrecked ships, Thargoids have always been noted to scan the ships as well as the cargo, and they make various decisions and honks, wails we don't understand, and they scoop and take some items or not. They do to take the meta-alloys and human pods. Now, the fact that they're taking escape pods, we've seen various types of megaships, from prison ships to agricultural ships, and even another science vessel was found wrecked, I believe, when the Gnosis was going about. It had me a little worried when we were doing our jumps out to the Witchhead. But what's really the common factor? They don't seem to have anything. Maybe with a prisoner ship, the human cargo was of interest to the Thargoids. Maybe they were after the people and escape pods on board, so it seems they have many things to go after, but finding out exactly what they are taking is hard to find out.
With a
Well,
science
as far as
vessel,
we
it
can
probably-
tell, with the prison ship at least, it had only taken escape pods that were found outside of the vessel, and that's a little worrying considering we don't know if it's targeting humans specifically. Another thing that might be worth mentioning is that it's a little silly to consider that the Thargoids themselves would be entirely peaceful or passive, so they could just be attacking these to cause panic.
That sounds more likely, like shock and awe. But yeah.
It's only major ships in hyperspace that they're pulling out, though. Stationary ships like Fisher's Rest and all of that, they seem to be perfectly fine from Thargoid activity.
Yeah, well, don't jinx it.
Yeah.
Yes, speaking of Thargoids, I would also like to add something else. A little bit of lore that perhaps Commander Lexic may be able to shine a little bit of light on. INRA. What can you tell us about INRA, Lexic?
Well, we know that they were either, well, there's been many rumored names for them, but the two that are most prominent are the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm and the Intergalactic Naval Research Arm. Considering that the canisters found around sites that were recently discovered over the past weeks, I believe that it is more fitting to call them the Intergalactic Research Arm, although one of the logs from the bases specifically called them out as a military contractor in all but name.
They did also start as a independent research group, and they did make the adder, so they probably were the research before, but when they made the attack portion of INRA, they changed the name in the history books probably. And that could have gone by unnoticed because they never actually mentioned to them in their full name. It's always INRA.
Yeah, that's interesting. And recently, we've had a bit of an influx of their own bases being discovered, and we've found some pretty interesting things.
Yes, we've even heard mentioned that they were sadly experimenting on live Thargoids with their mycoid virus, which is now known to have attacked both the Thargoid technology as well as their physiology, and supposedly, according to one of the researchers, caused them great pain when doing so.
Oh my goodness.
I believe that recently we have even had 3 of the powers comment on that, and the only one that really seems to have much sympathy or empathy for them was Princess Aisling Duval.
Duval? Her?
Yes, this is the direct quote that was taken from her by the Galactic News Network. I read the INRA records, and frankly, I was sickened. How could they treat living creatures that way? I've heard of governments inventing threats to support their military programs. Maybe that's what the INRA was, a smokescreen. And she was quickly ushered away by her publicist before she could say much more past that.
Oh man. She's sweet imperial child.
Honestly, I personally agree with her. When you're
I do
working with
too.
when you're working with something that you don't understand, there could be things like societal barriers, cultural barriers. Their combat, the fact that we technically committed genocide against them. They didn't expect us to do that. But the fact that we
It
take
wasn't intentional either.
yeah, it wasn't.
And we don't know if it even was a genocide. We have no idea if it even was one.
I mean, with what we're learning from the INRA bases, the mycoid seems to have been pretty effective on their biology.
Polymers
But
that
when you
make them.
consider that they probably didn't expect us to come back with such a painful, devastating weapon that would do that kind of thing to them. When you think about it, technically, I honestly see us as kind of the bad guys here.
I say that like we're all kind of bad guys in this situation. Like species or not, I mean this is just my personal opinion, but I think that we're all kind of being the bad guys over here, Thargoids and humans.
My only question is why would they, if they knew that we had the mycoid, why would they come back?
They built an immunity to it, probably.
That's a very good
Possibly out
question.
of necessity.
Yeah, but why would they
Darwinism.
come back out of necessity, especially with something so dangerous?
Possible. They
Darwinism.
viewed us as resources before. We were just things to pick up that were useful, much like we picked up their probes and sensors, run them around the galaxy. There was something to trade and a curiosity. The
Or
fact that if
maybe
you
we're-
find out it bites back, you might get a bit more respect for it. You can make peace, but you've got to prepare for war. If they know you can shoot back, they might actually start listening. Now, that's one perspective on it.
That's actually a very good perspective, Panpiper. Yes. I'm sorry, Crescent.
We've noticed that the ones that are coming back to us aren't personally aggressive to pilots working alone. I'm not sure about in wings. I haven't actually flown in a wing with somebody. I think from what I'm seeing, they could be studying us.
That's most likely.
R&D has done some independent testing in regards to wings. They do tend to respond hostilely if you're flying
Really?
with multiple pilots.
Oh, really? So when you're flying alone, they tend to just, like, oh, do you got anything on you? And if they don't, you're like, all right, goodbye.
Harmless.
But when you're in the wing, you're like, hey.
That's curious. Hadn't known that. Maybe it's a
The-
tactical decision they're doing, like outnumbered.
Specifically, the testing we were doing in regards to what was the technical term we were using? The watchers, the ones that are pulling us out and just staying static.
It could be kind of like, because you're talking about how they see wings as a threat. It could be like humans to ants. You see one ant, you can squash it, but you stick your hand in an ant pile, you're gonna get pretty messed up.
I'm seeing a lot of comparisons of
analogy.
Thargoids to ants. Big
Big
space
ants.
They're big ammonia space ants. Yeah, the Thargoids. Oh, yes. These guys, to be honest, I was a bit skeptical when they first arrived. I was like, wait, these things follow their exact MO, but thinking maybe they could be copycats, but nope, it's them. Yeah, I think sorry, my brain's messing up there for a moment there. Ugh, I really need to cut back on the brain boosting biscuits.
Just going back to a point earlier, someone brought up about some of them actually studying us. It's almost views like a mirror image of what we do to them. Obviously, some will be hostile and I just want to kill it. I want to kill my first human and my first human heart and cargo. Others are like, we want to study these humans. And in humans, we have the scientists, we have the miners, traders, people who go scooping things up, ones who go out with gun blazing just because they want to get a war trophy. Sometimes I look at them when they come and look at you and you're thinking, they're acting like a scientist almost and mirroring our behavior.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then again,
I just had this thought when you were saying that. We've been it's kind of like we've been picking up their artifacts and their links and their probes. It kind of seems very similar with the way that they're picking up the escape pods, the occupied escape pods.
Actually, Crescent, that's actually this isn't really a topic, but that could be it, because I've done some research on ammonia-based life, and one of the possibilities that these ships are ammonia metallic, where the metal is their meat and electricity is their blood, essentially. It's kind of like...
Right on. It does seem to fit in with what is possible along the ammonia biology and theoretical how it would interact. Metals would be sort of almost like a building block they could easily use, so that sounds really right along my thoughts as well.
Yeah, a recent report, like a recent quote from one of the Pilots Federation members saying it's like these could be ammonia metallic or ammonia carbon. I'm not sure if they're talking about the actual bugs or these ships.
Well, they're made out of the same thing, both the ships and thargoids themselves, as we've noticed with the mycoid, or at least parts of their internals.
For the biology, you will need some sort of, you're going to need a carbon or a solid thing along with a gaseous, either ammonia or oxygen you're going to be working with, or water. So I think ammonia will be replacing the water element, so they could still use the oxygen. It would work for the biology, but no doubt with their biology, we work on iron and water and blood. We're bags of water with a lot of things in, but it doesn't mean we can't do anything else. They can obviously utilize their biology to interact with metals very easily and almost like a natural building material for them.
Yeah, and Panpiper, I think I've shown you like a research paper I've also done on the how they may have interacted, since that they may be able to interact with each other with like manipulating electromagnetic waves, perhaps.
Ah, yes, I've gone through several papers like that, and it looks intriguing as well. And it kind of fits in with what we are seeing, finding the proof to it, though, and we need better science equipment and tools to concretely prove that. But from what we observe, it does look just like that.
Especially like with their weapons, because if they were to like eat metal, or if they were to quote unquote eat metal, they'd have to find a way to break it down, and an
We've
acid is
seen-
probably the way.
We've seen similar at the thargoid sites. The scavengers have been what appears to be dissolving the metal into some sort of acid.
And
They do have a corrosive material that breaks through our cargo hatches.
yeah, so apparently, like, yeah, they're basically just trying to. I don't know if they're actually trying to get out, or if it's just a byproduct of what they
Well,
do.
Actually,
stat-
the corrosion isn't exactly corrosion in the traditional sense. The unknown artifacts, probes, pretty much all Thargoid technology that we've interacted with have a mechanism that will allow them to take materials from their environment and basically repair themselves using it. It was
So
something
it's
that was confirmed by Professor Palin quite a while back.
It's natural cannibalization.
Self-repair
you're saying-
mechanism
so what I'm
from this
getting at is-
environment.
When we have like probes and whatnot in our cargo holds, what I'm getting from that is they're basically absorbing our ship and making themselves harder, stronger.
It's got to
Uh,
eat.
well,
Yeah,
What
mainly,
ends up
yeah.
happening is that when we're scooping them up, they'll quite frequently get damaged in the process, and as such, the repair mechanism is activated, and they start eating until they're good.
Yeah, which apparently appears to be a long time.
Well, I think that it's possible that they might just be eating through whatever they can to get to what they need, which is potentially why the anti-corrosive cargo racks work so well, is that they just directly give it what they need to repair rather than it having to get through so much.
Interesting. And another thing that I'd also like to add are our little Thargoid probes, because I'm sure we all know what happens when you honk at it. You basically wake it up. You wake it up, and it kind of makes a similar EMP burst, but
Not as flashy.
and you can still kind of control your ships. I think
Yeah.
mainly that's what we're doing is with the discovery scanner. You're basically just making a huge burst of energy.
It seems for the probe it knocks out the ship's OS or something, because the UI goes away of our.
Yeah, knocks out your HUD.
computers.
I've been wondering, is this just some effect that we have on there? Is it intentional, or is it somehow the way our honk ADS works that we're inadvertently trimming like a response program probably intended for the Thargoids, and is giving sort of a half understood ping back to us that we
Well,
aren't seeing?
When you
Or was it
think
intended for us, or was it intended
yeah,
for
we know that-
us, or was it a byproduct that something we're seeing from their network they didn't really intend us to see?
Well,
Yeah, and like
when you
the
think about it, since if you've noticed that when we encounter the Thargoid and like non-human signal sources or hyperdictions, they seem to communicate with sound. Like the sounds that they make, they
Mhm.
honk themselves. They themselves honk. What if the frequency that our scanners are going off at is very similar to the sound
Exactly,
that they're
yeah.
making?
possibly,
Kind
yes.
of like if you make a sound at a cat and the cat makes a sound back. You didn't intend to make
Great.
that. The cat just said something back and you
It
don't know
does,
what
yeah. We know from their whales and calls, when you drop a meta-alloy, they like sort of give a, oh, lovely, some candy. Other ones, they scan something and it's not the cargo they're looking for. They're like sign of disappointment
They're like,
almost.
meh.
And then there's the other one where there's a lot of cargo and they call a friend in, which is like, hey, come over here, and something new. Now, it wouldn't be too dissimilar to imagine it's all sound-based or something that our ships interpret as a sound-based thing. They put out calls. It wouldn't be too dissimilar that their tools, the probe and the sensor, would work along the same way. When we honk our discovery scanners, they do seem to throw out a ping in an audible manner as well, where other equipment doesn't. I was hoping I could experiment and get other results with it, but we need some other equipment maybe that can send out an audible ping.
Oh yes.
Not sure why, but when you were saying that they call for their friends, my first thought back to comparing them to ants, because we were talking about that earlier. When
Yeah.
an ant finds something like food, they use pheromones to get everyone else to come. They're saying, "Hey, there's something good over here. Come over this way," and then that's where everybody goes.
and they lead it back to the hive
Yes.
or the whatever ants or whatever the main thing of the ants
Colony.
are. Yeah, the
Quite
colony.
possibly a pheromone trail, almost like a witch space call, going jump here, we found something, and he calls him back up. Rather than the audible wail that's going through any space thing, it maybe is something a signal is sending out to witch space to say, "Hey buddies, come here."
Oh yes, and oh yeah, that's also something that's also pretty interesting because there is if you see them jump out, you see that like their arms almost kind of pull open a window into wherever they're going.
They burrow into the galaxy like ants.
Space ants. Yeah, they could be space ants.
Well, at least my theory at the moment is that well, actually, so before the latest firmware update and the Xenoscanners, we were able to do a passive scan of Thargoid ships, and it appeared that their drives were also marked as frameshift drives. Now, I'm not sure exactly how our scanners work, but it's possible that our frameshift drives were reverse engineered from theirs. If we assume
one
that
of the
it
rumors.
was picking up a signature that was similar to ours. So they might just be doing the same exact process, but in a more elegant way.
Our frameshift drives
maybe.
also do respond to weights as it tries to enter the wake, but the probably encryption on the wake that they have isn't able to be broken
As
by
well-
our computers.
Yeah, as well
Similar
as
to
our
Thermix.
ship saying frameshift anomaly detected.
Yeah.
Humans have to understand things in a human way. So when you think about it, they took an alien technology and made it human. It wouldn't like when they do that, it wouldn't understand the alien what the aliens
Yeah.
produce, I guess.
It was encrypted. under a
Humans
different
made
name without being
computers
tracked.
that trying to understand it, so they're trying to interpretate it.
Yeah.
Where they know some sort of jump happened, so they're saying it's a frameshift drive, but I don't know what type.
Yeah, and
It's
Dutch,
saying,
you
it's
want?
saying, "Hey, that's something I kind of know. I can understand it, but there's something different there."
But I can't describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much yes. And Dutch Foster, you you wanted to say something?
Well, I've heard a lot of talk about ants, describing them as such. Really ought to be treating them as equals. They have damn fine technology, and it's right
Yeah,
now
that's enough.
from what
I
I've seen
personally
is
love ants.
superior.
Oh man! Oh dear. Sorry.
Ants are incredibly interesting to me. I personally love them.
Just
a
currently
few of
being
them.
hyper-addicted whilst chatting to you guys. I'm flying to
Uh-oh.
things and they're coming for a little poke at me.
Uh-oh.
I've got
Oh,
nothing of
dear.
interest, to be fair,
Panpiper
though.
live from Hyperdiction.
Yeah, we
Two
have.
of them.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to be shut down. I've no cargo of interest for them.
And you don't have those those new Aegis things?
Not yet. I just hope they're not aware I built a combat ship to come and play with them at a future time.
I
And
heard that if you use the pulse countermeasure on your ship, they consider that hostile.
the the ECM?
Yeah, they consider it if they're not able to turn your ship off, they consider that hostile.
Has that been confirmed, or does the evidence we have just the guy got too close
from
or
what
something?
I've heard, from what I've seen, I was recently talking with another commander who was out there studying them, and they said that with their countermeasure on, the Thargoid immediately went hostile.
I mean, makes sense. Yeah, Dutch?
From what I've seen, it's everything they do is pretty impressive.
It is, yeah, and I have to say that, like, giving them equal, we don't even know if they're if they're above us or if we are below, or if we're above them. I mean,
On the civilization scale?
yeah, like I know, like back then there was there's a level of civilizations, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 civilization, or no, wait, it was type 1 civilization, type 2 civilizations, and type 3s, and type 4. Type 4 is the one that can actually are civilizations that control the galaxy.
Kardashev civilizations or something along them lines, I believe it is.
I think
The
type.
level of their technology and what they're capable of creating and on what level on seriously mental scales.
Yeah, we have no
Well,
idea
I
what they
guess-
are.
I guess you can consider whoever created the supposed mythological structures on the supposed mythological Raxla is probably
Uh-huh.
a Type 4.
Raxala, the rumored Raxala would be a good example of a Type 4 civilization. I don't think humans have even made it to Type 3 yet. Or are we still at Type? I think we're probably at Type 2.
I think we're at type 1.
Yeah,
Type
type
1.5.
1.
Oh yeah, I gave us a bit too much credit there.
If
Yeah,
it was
because
type 2, I believe we would have the ability to control fully the solar power and also power of the black holes as well.
Well, if you really
Dyson
want to get
spheres.
too
Yeah, we would
We should
have
have
Dyson
Dyson
spheres.
spheres or Dyson swarms, and we should be able to harvest half the galaxy and multiple suns to focus that power into generating multiple things. It gets onto a whole level, another level.
Yeah,
But
we
then I
haven't
hope
seen.
the Thargoids aren't at that power, because if they are, we are probably really screwed.
We
Luckily,
would be.
maybe the
We really
Guardians
would
are further, or were further. You heard about that latest Guardian find in a new area of the galaxy as well?
be. I have not.
Was it
No, I have
just-
not heard about that.
I did.
News to know 3 sites I think they've got another 4th site. I looked at the location and it's in a whole other area. It shows them at least halfway across our own galaxy. And if they're gone, those are the Guardians, maybe they're not, but they are probably on a bigger scale than the Thargoids, we hope.
Possibly a
If the
Type.
Thargoids are equal, on par, then oh dear.
We may be in trouble.
If we're going by scale, couldn't the Thargoids be what was considered in the, I think it was the Fermi paradox back then?
The Fermi.
Ah, yes.
Basically, all civilizations either destroy themselves or there's a super civilization out there that's already hit the end of the scale and just is going around deleting threats before it can grow up to be a threat to it.
That would be the worst case scenario of the Thargoids.
Well, right
The
now we don't
absolute
see
worst.
them going through galactic planes, so they can't be level 4, I believe.
Well, we know for a fact that they haven't destroyed themselves, but we still see
there
some
goes-
of them now.
and there
So
goes my cockpit.
it's a question of if they've still got all that power or not. If they have that power, they're certainly still around, unlike the Guardians, until we see a Guardian.
Didn't the Guardians destroy themselves, or were they also destroyed by a similar
Or an
species?
AI. This will be a. Oh, sorry.
Rampant AI was the most
It's
recent
vague.
theory.
They had battles against AI and an unknown adversary, and possibly or not, you could
I didn't-
speculate Thargoids. Who killed them or dealt the final blow, or whether they're still theirs, another matter. You
I
wouldn't
didn't
know
notice
yet.
that we have a hatred towards AI currently.
Yeah,
like
that's what.
most
Yeah, hatred
people in
towards
the
AI. I
galaxy.
mean, I have
Who
no.
has?
I have nothing against AI.
There's also like a few pirate vessels out there that are carrying what is essentially contained AI in cargo canisters.
Oh,
That
Really?
is very illegal.
I mean, yeah, AI is a bit cautious, but I mean, so long as it's not in a human shell or in a very dangerous shell, it's fine.
Like a ship.
I'm not sure if a ship had the ability to grow and just make itself even better, yeah, that's a problem.
Isn't that one of the ideas of what the interceptors are, since there's no clear thing in the cockpit to actually be controlling it? Or what we
The
think is
interceptors?
the cockpit. Yeah, the Cyclops.
I really don't know, but that is, I mean, if you don't really mind, that is also another topic I would also like to bring us up to, their adaptation to our weaponry.
That's a natural thing in warfare.
Yeah, that is a natural thing in warfare, Dutch. You are absolutely right. And
we do it as well.
so far we've been on top of them, or as on top of them as we can get, as anyway. Now that we don't have a CG going on, it's kind of got me to like, oh dear, like, what's gonna, like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no.
We might have run out of substances that can actually harm them. They might have adapted to all their weaknesses.
Yeah, that's.
Do you really
Well,
think
we can.
the Thargoid
Oh.
could adapt to mycoid over a couple hundred years?
It is very I mean, just
They
think
could
about
have.
like take us down like 2,000 years
It-
ago. Humanity
Like-
was struck with the Black Plague.
It's
Believe
possible they could, but they have
Then
been doing
again-
observations where they have adapted. They've changed meta-alloy, which is in the log saying they have changed from the original things, so somehow they're having to adapt to the circumstances. How far along that line they have got, though. That's more of a biological adaptation rather than a tactical war adaptation.
Yeah,
They seem to adapt it to our weapons quickly.
Sorry.
Then again, you do see them coming back from meta alloy at the barnacles. For what reason do they have to come back if they've adapted to whatever could be harming them?
Maybe to get more.
Yeah, but for what?
Well, things get
You need
damaged.
food
Things get
today and you need a
things get
meal,
hurt.
then tomorrow you're hungry again and you've got more missions that need doing, you need more supplies.
that,
To
and
me,
also
whether it's whether it's material, energy, or food, they do seem to be like a supply depot. It gets something they need, they pop down the shops every so often and restock. Exactly
yes,
what they do, we don't know.
and especially like with
Okay.
the meta alloys. Like I said, some parts get damaged. Like some parts are gonna need to be repaired. I can imagine the raw meta alloys are for that.
That very well could be.
Oh
They could have also adapted, like I believe Darwin said, long ago. The species, the ones that are not immune die out, and the ones that are immune continue to breed. and
That is
spread that
actually
That's
immunity.
actually a good one.
yes, that's actually
interesting,
very
yeah.
good science. Yes, perhaps what the Thargoids we're seeing now are the ones that have adapted, and the other ones are already
Adapted,
gone.
evoluted.
Evoluted, yes, yeah.
We've evolved them by giving them sort of, what do you call it?
Force.
Extinction sort of
catalyst?
things, like
Yes,
survival of the
extinction.
fittest. We give them extinction events, and then they evolute from that, and naturally some would survive and adapt.
Similar
We've
to
strongest would-
given
the
them-
strongest
we've
would keep
basically given
going.
them a catalyst.
similar to the ancient to the old idea of the bacteria apocalypse that was dangerous long ago.
The bacteria apocalypse. Oh yes, you mean
less
super
than
Oh yeah,
a-
you mean the super bacterias. Yes, yes.
Less than a week ago, it was actually noted by some of the leading Thargoid experts in the galaxy that the crashed Thargoid ships that were found last year that seemed visually similar to the Thargoid Interceptor are actually around over 100 years old, which would
So-
actually suggest that they're from the time that Myquid was active and deployed. So I don't
It-
think that we're really seeing any evolution whatsoever.
But
Yeah, there
crash
isn't.
ships that we're
Or
finding.
does seem a size difference.
The ships that
Wasn't
we're
there
finding, though.
mycoid
Oh,
visibly
hold on,
it and
guys.
also in
I
the
think
log?
CrescentMage wants to say something as well. Sorry, like I don't know if the
Sorry,
comms are
Crescent.
messed up, but yeah, your voice is a bit low, Crescent.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was a bit further away from my comms.
It's all right. Happens.
The crash sites you were talking about, they don't seem, from what I can remember, they don't seem to have any hint of mycoid on them.
Could
The
be. I mean,
Interceptor or
we've seen.
the
I think we've
Galaxy?
seen like traces of mycoid back in the unknown sites.
The sites, yeah, but not on the crash ships. Not that I know of.
Exactly.
The
Oh,
new
yes.
crash
Not to mention-
ships.
Wanted to point that out as well myself. If you look at the Crash Scout we have from the same age,
There's mycoid.
now if they're the same age, there's mycoid damage on there. That's obvious. All the
they
crashed
also face it.
interceptors we seen, they seem kind of smaller, so maybe they adapted to the scale, but there was never any visual damage of mycoid. So that could be a reason we're only seeing interceptors now. They thought, well, somehow this design is naturally immune, where the other ones have all fallen apart. So could be a reason they
One
chose
thing-
that, and they're the
My
first ships
idea
we see.
for the Interceptor was the crash ones we see around our bubble could have been prototypes, like I think it was the Antares. When Sirius tried using a new drive that they were testing, the Antares crashed on a planet nearby. They could probably be doing the same thing with the crash ships. The Thargoids would be testing them out in our space behind our backs, and it could be having malfunctions into planets and such, so on.
So, like,
Mhm.
referring to that would make more sense because when you think about it, around a lot of those interceptor crash sites, or the pre-beta interceptor, I guess, you don't see any, like, I mean, other than the one crash site that had all the human ships around it that were probably in combat, you don't see really any combat damage. So they
Well,
must have gone down on their own.
these ships may actually. Well, here's another thing. Like these ships may actually be the skeletons of the ship. Is what I think me and Lexic also agreed on. That like all the organics may be gone,
They do have a
and
bony feel to them.
yeah, it's like what. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I was sometimes called a xenopaleontologist. And yeah, because these things look like bones. Like we're
And-
seeing those are the bones.
And they are visibly a lot smaller than the alive interceptors.
And yeah, when you're And yeah, like if you look at a human skeleton, it's significantly smaller. Well, yeah, you take all the flesh off the human skeleton, it's pretty much just like that's it.
Their external hull is very hard, and that their internals are all we can really attack and have much success with. So I
Yeah.
think that it makes sense that these crashed interceptors that are that old, the Mycoid didn't exactly like it did
Oh.
the Thargoid Scout.
Yeah. And if I may also say, since we're kind of a bit low on time, is a rather interesting one. The superpowers have apparently retreated out of the Pleiades. We didn't see that one coming from about 10,000 light years away.
I think they know a lot more than we're letting on to.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And I think they finally.
You think they're kind of pulling a move? They're putting us before them?
Probably, but we could have. But there has been that mass evacuation in Maya that didn't go so well.
Really? Mass evacuation in.
Yeah, there's been a lot of passenger ships around Obsidian Orbital. We don't know what they are doing, but they seem to be in quite a hurry. And sadly, in that hurry, there's been many ships lost by the station opening fire for loitering fees. I know you're in a hurry. I know you're trying to evacuate, but you still have to be respectful about loitering, mate.
All right, and yeah, that's something that I've actually kind of seen coming since, Pleiades has apparently been the hotspot of the Thargoids, and pretty sure seeing a couple of your Majestics and your Farragut's destroyed would really send you like, I don't think we really want these things out here.
My idea for why they returned was if my dates are correct, they started hibernating shortly after the Federation started to expand into Maya, shortly after Obsidian Orbital, so they were probably territorial. And once the Federation became hostile, they started to attack the Federation first, leaving both the Empire and civilians alone until recently, which everyone started to fight openly with them.
Yeah, really? I mean, there's a lot of sort of coincidences and like, oh, hey, this matches and this matches. Again, they could be coincidences. They could not be. We have no idea.
Yeah, until further evidence either denies or proves.
Well, with the Galnet, we really don't. Oh, we really don't know about that since Galnet's apparently been very fishy. And I mean,
honestly, I feel like
fish.
Galnet's got a bias.
Oh yeah. It's like Oh yeah, if you remember Salome, do you remember that? What happened with Salome when apparently she died? When apparently Galnet apparently like they listed her as a traitor. When I'm pretty like Lex.
She was very publicly noted as a terrorist by the.
Oh yeah. And yeah, the
Wasn't
Empire would try and do that, save their own skin.
Wasn't she noted as a terrorist and traitor to the Federation? Or is it just the entire
just the
Palace
Empire.
Federation in
It's
general?
just the Empire.
Yeah, it was the Empire.
The Federation actually saw her as an asset.
So Galnet could be Empire biased.
No, I think they're just biased to they're more just biased to like who she described as the Lexic. Did she call them the club?
No, I believe that was a name that kind of caught on after in the galactic community.
I don't get it. Like, why a club? Why a club? It's more a cabal or something else. Or
I think
the puppet masters
used it.
The cabal is the term that I've preferred. I view the club as a name to be as silly as some of the other names that the galactic community has preferred to
I
dub
can imagine
things.
that. Yeah, cabal works a bit better since they're the ones pulling the strings, and especially like with the engineers. I know some of the engineers are involved in this.
According to Salome, supposedly in the logs called Salome's Requiem at a medical installation in a location that I can't really remember.
Tune your honk in your own horn there, Lexic.
So they mentioned that the engineers were serving their purpose and getting the rest of the public armed up. The arena, for example, was allowing them to find the best pilots in the galaxy. Stuff like that.
CQ.
So it seems that
CQC,
the cabal, as evil as some people may believe them to be, might just have humanity's best interest in mind. One could argue that
they're just saying the needs of the many outweigh needs of the few.
One could argue that the fact they didn't tell the public about the Thargoid menace is evil. To which I reply that something like that would cause public panic that wouldn't really be beneficial to going ahead and
riots.
Yeah, it would cause a panic like we're seeing right now.
Running, you wouldn't be able to prepare properly, and what they allowed was
especially yeah, I
for
can.
certain groups to prepare themselves, even if they were unknowingly preparing themselves. And I
Like,
think
Yeah, I
that's
know.
the
I know
important
what they
thing.
mean, like causing mass panic. I mean, heck, back home in Okinawa, I've gotten countless video logs from my parents saying, like, "Is this true? Like, is this true? Like, are the Thargoids real? Are they real? They're like, do we have to leave?" I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that. And yeah, people are afraid out there. They really are afraid.
I
But
hate to burst in here, but I think her name's pronounced Salome.
Salome, yeah, it's
Salome.
tomato, tomato, Salome, salam,
salami.
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 If you're hungry.
Yep. That's our little name
I
for her.
believe quite a few people have made that mistake more than enough times, and I am probably guilty of, when wanting to ask for salami, instead saying salome.
Oh, that poor girl. Oh man.
Too bad she's dead though.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, and the feds went all through that trouble to make that giant pizza with salami topping.
yes, yeah. Yeah, still. Oh man, that day wasn't fun. It was not fun. Rather forget about that and move on, because we got some time left. And actually, yeah, I believe we've also like seen some footage that the Pilots Federation also revealed about the new ships. How about those, eh?
Some
New ships
returning
always great.
blueprints from the old times.
Oh yes, the new crate model. I've only
Yeah,
ever seen them in the history books, but they do look quite promising as vessels. And then I
Yeah,
believe
the
there have
crate. Oh,
been,
wait, yeah, that's the
I was
one
gonna
where the
ask if you had
cockpit
the crate
is
or
upside, whereas on the bottom.
I believe so, yes. And there's also been rumors of a chieftain, which may or may not be Alliance affiliated. We're not entirely sure as to the specifics of that one, but it was leaked from some Lakon lab, so we can assume that it
Or I
is
think
indeed
it's
a Lakon ship.
really. I think it's more like Lakon, more like Lakon announced. I think they more announced that they're building, that they just got approved for their new ships, and they're like, hey, we got something. Like, hey,
They
look
do
at
Well, you
this.
look
know how
all
finicky
rather.
these manufacturers can be with their announcements.
They do look all combat oriented though, except
Well,
for
yeah, from the
the
chieftain is what
defender.
I can see. Yeah, like what I can see.
The
Chieftain would be
crate
lovely
seems
to
really
Oh
explore.
thin.
yeah.
I don't feel like the crate's something you would want to fly into battle. I feel like it's something more so for carrying, carrying battle supplies. It wouldn't be something
I
you
mean,
would
yeah, it
really
looks.
trust in combat.
I mean,
I
it also
did
kind of looks more
hear.
dynamic. Like it looks like its thrusters are dynamic, like the keel back.
Like vertical takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear
VTOL.
that quite a few aces of the old time, when a crate was actually being produced, many pilots preferred it and aced in combat with it due to its maneuverability and very small size, making it
And
extremely hard to hit.
Wait,
yeah,
Well, according to the history books, at least this is what I was taught, they were honestly smaller than a Sidewinder and didn't even have room for hyperdrive. But we see quite the
What?
opposite with this new model.
You mean
There's
it went from
even
being a
been
fighter
people-
pilot to a large ship?
There's even been some people who are sorry, stumbling over my words of it. There's been
It's
some
alright,
people
man.
who have claimed from these Lakon labs, or at least who've looked at the images that were supposedly leaked, that there was a fighter bay on the bottom of the ship, and that has quite a few people very excited.
I think
Oh
I was
yeah, people
getting-
love to fly their little ships.
I think I was getting the chieftain confused with the crate. The chieftain's the one with the vertical takeoff.
Ah,
Yep,
yes.
that's the chieftain.
That's the
It looks
chieftain.
juicy.
Okay.
For the crate, did someone mess up the conversions from the old blueprints?
What do you mean? Like
I
the
think
fact
that someone just took the old blueprints and probably multiplied length, width, and height by 10 times or so.
Oh, that's
Oh
supposed to be
yeah,
meters?
that.
Oh, that's supposed to be meters? Sorry, that's in kilometers now. Whoops.
Yeah, and of course we can't forget the Type 10, can we? Or the supposed
Type-
Type 10.
The Type 9 keelback.
That's
What?
been the nickname for quite some time,
Type
science.
9.5.
But there
Does
have
look-
also been some rumors of Lakon's first foray into combat ships being this new Type 10 Defender, which was leaked in the latest Pilots Federation firmware update, where in the multi-crew menu for everything, it had mentioned a mysterious ship that later disappeared from the manifest.
The Type 10 Defender. And I
Indeed.
think as well in a recent video that was just leaked onto the that was just leaked onto the uplink. It showed all sorts of ships, and
it did show it having a lot more engines. So if it is the same size as the Type 9, if the leak that we got from that video is to be accurate, hopefully it has some more capability of mobility
might
over the Type
have
9.
like it might have huge hard points, like perhaps maybe 3 huge hard points.
Well, I've been thinking along
So
the
more
Try
of a
rocking that.
possibilities of the
form
ship
than
myself.
anything else.
Now, if you noticed on some leaked footage that we had seen, the engines, similar to the Type 9, are burning all the time, but there were an extra 2 sets each side of engines, and they only seem to light up possibly when it boosted. So we know a Type 9 is a pretty
And it's
hefty
got a
armored
spoiler.
tank.
So
And it's got a spoiler
And
too.
if it's got
Why did
possibilities of
spoiler?
sticking guns all over it, and then you put a big engine so it can move a bit faster, maybe this thing could be quite useful. And
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
can't
thought
wait
on
to
you.
hear a bit further details on it.
So it
Yeah,
could be
I know
slower
that
than the Type
SD
9 due to very old rocket proportions. I don't know work here as well, but it couldn't be artificial gravity of stations.
artificial gravity stations.
The forces that the stations use seem to do some sort of gravity, at least on the surface. And on
Isn't it
Well,
planets.
yeah, you're just spinning. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you're spinning. That's creating artificial gravity.
But for planets and such, they would have to take off on planets, which all ancient rocket designs show that adding more engines can actually be a bad thing in the long-term sense.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we've all. Yeah, well, I can't wait to see how many people try to land that thing on Akinar.
I
Oh, that's
landed
gonna
my
be
Type
fun.
9 on the 4G world in the Pleiades. Oh, never again.
Try going G6. Never again.
I got stuck on a lamppost. The lamppost was way heavier than the ship. It was great.
Oh man, gravity's beautiful, ain't it?
It also took half a minute just to start moving upwards.
Oh dear. Oh boy, yeah. All right. Yeah.
It was fun, not for my repair bill, but it was fun.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah. Have you ever seen a sidewinder? Like, I'm pretty sure you've all seen like a sidewinder try and land on that, try and land there. You know, just on that 6G planet, and it just lands on its back and just starts flopping around. I don't know about you, but that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Just it's like a turtle. It's like a sidewinder turtle just trying to flop and.
Speaking about repair bills, is Maya still doing those massive Thargoid technology to distant destinations such as Colonia still?
I don't know.
If they are, warning against accepting them, don't. Since I did try one, and the just massive amount of technology will instantly destroy at least 1 or 2 modules.
Yeah. And looks like DMehaffy's going through a little bit of trouble. Better hope it's not the Thargoids again.
He was pulsed.
I guess these Thargoids are kind of being like ants. They're pulsing.
Maybe those scavengers got loose again.
Pookie? Oh no! It better not have been Pookie. I'm on the Gnosis, Dutch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've tried. I've
saw
had
'em.
to clean up. I've been finding biscuit residue in my quarters for weeks.
You know, I still wonder how something that large managed to escape.
Oh, you
Things
don't
the size
want to
of a
know.
car.
You don't want to know how that thing got out.
All
I
I
guess
got
it-
to say, y'all need to keep that thing from getting in my bar.
Trust
Might
me.
as well. We might as well
Although
just
I
make
don't
up
think
a new
I think
unit
it'll
for
just I think the bar I'm pretty sure the bar would just be I'm pretty sure the bar alcohol would just be like water to it, just like
Well, I would hope.
Now there's an interesting question. Can a Thargoid get drunk?
I was about to say
Ah,
drunk
that's
scavenger.
oh my god, that'd be interesting. Oh my god.
The
If
real
we could actually do
question.
that and well apparently DMehaffy had to be pulled away for an emergency meeting with R&D. Huh, wonder what's going on down there. I really try not to go down there.
Along the lines of
Where
getting
the
a Thargoid
scavenger
drunk,
is.
maybe Jax, with his bar over in Colonia, might be able to whip up some sort of meta-alloy beer.
Oh my whoa, hey.
Ooh. Honestly, that sounds kind of good.
Oh
Bright
my
green
yeah.
glowing beer. Nice.
Yeah, to make it glow green a bit, call it the meta alloy. Heck yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Meta beer.
Yeah. Meta beer. Meta
Beer
beer.
alloy.
Meta beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that subject
Alcohol.
of Pookie, of having to deal with Pookie somehow leaving bits of biscuit residue in the quarters. I have no idea how that happens. And anybody have any final thoughts on what's going on?
Well, there was one more thing that I figured that would be worth mentioning.
Yes, Lexic.
Aegis is planning to establish, I believe the reported number was 20 more outposts, 20 more orbital outposts, excuse me, in the coming months in the Pleiades region specifically to support its research and defense initiative.
Okay, then.
We have already seen 2 more in the systems Electra, which pilots
Of course.
are coming up in the news from the Electra
Which
communication hub.
as well as the comm speaking was apparently that was a
and I believe a second one has been established in an HIP system, but I do not have the name of that on the top of my head.
All right.
Now, Kelvin, you said you were aboard the Gnosis, right?
I am aboard the Gnosis. That's right.
Did you get the alert for going into Merope? The alert prepping everyone to be careful for any
basically like hunker down. Yeah, basically like everybody inside. Keep your arms, legs, ships inside the ship at all times. I think so. Why?
I'm a bit curious as to why they're administering that alert.
Especially
who knows?
Well, we do
I
know.
mean, especially since where we've been out here around the Pleiades and in the Witch Head. I feel like that alert should have been maybe
before.
Maybe sent out before now.
Well, we do know that the Thargoids do not like it when people are carrying their tech, and the Gnosis does carry quite a bit of that.
Well, we're a research vessel.
They also don't seem to like ships that carry a lot of people and a lot of ships.
Or a pet of their kind.
Oh, you're right, Pookie. Oh, Pookie, you're right. Oh no, oh my God, I knew that thing was gonna be
check
trouble.
on Pookie.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Pookie's masters are home.
That scavenger was a spy.
Pookie's parents are home. Pookie's gonna bark at the window.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And right. Anybody else have any final thoughts or anything else before we have to?
One last thing regarding the Aegis expanding their things. Electra is one of the systems where a new base had appeared the other day with Cavalieri Station, one of the other ones they've built recently.
Electra is also where Black Flight is, right?
One of their patrols.
Yeah, they had one of the stations there, I believe.
Yeah, I was there as well as the UCB. I had to dodge them. They do not. Although the thing that got me is like they're flying in Diamondbacks last time I was there. I'm like, really? You're a top secret organizations and you're flying in Diamondbacks?
Well, I believe Lars also flies an armed Diamondback, and that seems effective.
Yeah, true. I guess my Diamond. Oh no,
he
he
can
flies
be quite
on an
stealthy. Low heat profile. Black Ops ships, they can just vanish like that when need to.
Yeah, that could be true, but yeah, all right. So, if anybody has anything else to say before we have to head on out, and I gotta bolt everything down and hope and find some way to keep that darn scavenger out of my room.
I might see about heading back out to the Rift to take another check at Project Dynasty, since it was originally a Thargoid emergency protocol. I might go see if anything's poking over there recently.
Has the crew aboard the Gnosis considered repurposing one of the livery units for Pookie?
I don't know if I have no idea, but Star Beaver has managed to actually make a good containment unit for him.
I mean, considering the containment that Pookie's in right now seems rather cramped. I don't really feel bad for Pookie escaping.
You really want to make a thing bigger for that thing?
Maybe give him some bigger
quarters. If I was
quarters.
cramped in a box, I'd break out too.
Possibly. Well, I mean, I'm looking at that.
Some
we
larger
have
quarters,
those habitation
a
domes.
bowl for some meta alloys, and let him have a free run. Maybe get him a little Canonn decal logo he can wear.
Tattoo it on his head.
Yeah, and we also have those 3. Actually, you know what? We have those 3 habitation domes. Maybe we could use one of them as an enclosure for him.
You got to take him for walkies.
Yeah. Starbeaver. Canonn Council member Starbeaver has also been pretty adamant on looking at other species.
Isn't that what Gnosis is doing now? Just taking Pokey on a walk.
Play fetch.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah,
Squeaker
yeah.
toy
We
meta
went over to
alloy.
the. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Crescent.
Or is it squeaker toy meta alloy? Meta.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
That would solve all his problems.
oh my gosh, yes, a meta alloy squeaky toy.
You
Yes.
can call it a meta altoy.
Oh my god, yes. Just, oh man. Yeah. All right, so, and with that and all that, I think that's it for us. So I was here with Commander Dutch Foster,
Thank you.
Commander CrescentMage,
Thank you.
Commander Lexic,
Thanks for having me.
Commander Panpiper,
Lovely to be here. Night night.
and Commander Science.
Thank you for letting me be here today.
Yeah, and also I would also like to thank to Commander DMehaffy, who had to unfortunately be pulled away at this time. And with that, I'd like to say thank you all for listening. Keep your eyes on the stars and fly safe out there.
Canonn Radio, solving the galaxy's mysteries one biscuit at a time.